It's a Talker Tuesday, 9 to noon. Nordo in for PA. Talker Tuesdays, 9 to noon. PA back tomorrow, by the way. A little vocal maintenance for the host. And Combine around the corner. But Talker Tuesdays, 9 to noon. You heard me talking about Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply yesterday. Talker Tuesday for the remainder of 2026 will be brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. And just a note on that at the end of this segment, we're going to be doing, as part of a Talker Tuesday, talkbacks. And one of you will be getting a $25 Northern Fire gift card. So we'll present that. We'll promote that momentarily. But first, Meatsauce Paul Lambert in studio from the morning show. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you? But that place is the absolute best. I love those guys.
Yeah, Aaron and John and Brad, amazing.
Love John.
Amazing people.
Yeah, Aaron, A+, yeah.
What is the proper attire for watching the Combine?
Probably what I have on. I mean, sweatpants, probably a hooded sweatshirt. The Combine's outstanding.
Something with an adjustable waist or elastic.
Which I always wear, so I don't know how much weight I'm gaining.
I'm more of an oversized basketball shorts guy.
Yeah.
But it's tough to, like, oversized. And for me, it's tough.
Don't take a black light to those. Are you going?
This is a family show. No, PA's going, PA and Pete Bursich are going to be our official Combine correspondents in Indianapolis. We'll be doing shows Tuesday and Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
And you're going to be hearing from, of course, the head coach. And I think we're going to get some time to sit down with Rob Brzezinski.
Oh, sweet.
As well. So it's a mad dash right now. He's doing some pre-recorded chats, potentially over the weekend to catch up with people. The Combine is insane, dude.
Insane.
And there's a part, it's kind of a frat party.
Yeah.
There are just some elements of that, but these guys are running ragged for days.
Yeah.
And the ability to catch up with as many as we can over that time is really the goal and the mission. And then the rest of us are going to be sitting at home, basketball shorts, sweatpants.
Yeah.
Exposed belly as you stretch back in the chair to scratch your head.
My son now pokes at mine whenever I do that. He'll just poke at me.
Well, I told you, because, I mean, it's
over.
I got a cashmere sweater on. And I'm not wearing a sweater.
Yeah.
My kids, when they were young, saw me. I'm just walking around the house. I was shirtless. And Ava, like 2.5 years old, just started pointing at this National Geographic of a gorilla.
Yeah.
And just pointed at me, Dad. Dad. No!
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So basically, whenever we watch the movie Congo, she thinks I'm related to Amy. I don't know sign language, however, though.
You guys, and it hasn't been just you, but you, PA and Tiny Joe, started going to the Combine when, like, they were, like, one of, like, 3 or 4 people there.
Yeah.
What was the hook with that? Why did they start doing that?
Well, just to have access. At one point, it was just open for business.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in the convention center. NFL has figured out how to make spectacles out of just about everything, right?
Yep.
And so even when I first started, it was still, that would be 2014. They were still doing the Combine. The radio row was not much of a row. It was more of like a radio kiosk. And it was, like you said, 2, 3, 4 stations in a line on the concourse at Lucas Oil Stadium. So Steelers flagship, I think that's WDVE. They were there, 2 or 3 others, maybe the Giants, the Vikings, and then national radio. Those were the only spots.
Yeah.
And so, and it was so much cooler from an access standpoint than it is now, because if you remember, there was a video and it kind of resurfaced when Carson Wentz came here, the video of PA trying to track down Carson Wentz and that was 2016-ish maybe. But you had access to those players, Joey Bosa sitting at the table next to us pre-draft out of OSU. We were right there with them. It was awesome. And then now we're in this designated radio hall. You may see a player, but he's 50 yards away. You don't really have the same access anymore. And now everybody's there. But everybody, except there's this weird, it went from nothing, it crescendoed, and now whether it's teams and certain team, like Vikings Entertainment Network, other teams' versions of them, some of them started not going again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it peaked. A lot of people are like, wow, this is a complete circus. We're not getting anything done.
Yep.
And it's not worth whatever we're putting into it to go there. So we're not. So you're kind of seeing a little bit of a clawback or a pullback there. But yeah, back in the day, it was probably even more ghost town like with Tiny Joe. That nobody was there.
Nobody.
But then we got to talk to people. You could just walk up to John Harbaugh and say, "Hey, what up, brother?
Yeah.
How's it going?" Well, I mean, I wouldn't introduce myself that way, but you get the point.
Yeah.
These people are just wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
We were inside that. Now we're on the other side of the road.
It's two of the best shows you guys do. It's outstanding radio. The insight of it is awesome. And it's the beginning of the illegal tampering where now they allow illegal tampering, which is now legal tampering. All of that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A week from yesterday is when everybody starts showing up there. Even on Sunday, I think our guy Alec Lewis leaves Sunday. This is where we're going to start to put these teams together. And we saw yesterday with Miami, they cut a bunch of people. They're trying to get under the cap. They were about as bad of a cap situation as we're in. So once I think yesterday with Miami, I think we'll start seeing more of that as it goes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's part of the reason I wanted to bring you in here is I know that as soon as the season ends, and maybe even before, you start looking at mock drafts.
Yes.
And with our team, so this is the first time in a long time, Saucy, where I'm almost kind of annoyed at this moment because I have a lack of a grasp of what's happening. So the QB thing has my mind spinning.
Yes.
You mentioned the cap situation, and there's 50 different levers that they can pull to get back in black again. But we're still a team, and so that's a wreck right now. But then we're also still a team on paper that can easily bounce back and be a force in the North again. But this team not just needs to figure out the QB spot, it needs to ace the freaking draft.
Yes,
man.
it does.
And so, but then some of those things, that draft conversation has to be in line with what those levers are being pulled, right? What happens there? So whether it's TJ Hawkinson, what does that look like? Javon Hargrave, very disappointing season, fat cap number. What are they going to do at center with Ryan Kelly, right? So, but in positions we probably agree need to be added to, maybe corner or safety, D-line, et cetera. So it's February 17th to be specific. Do you have thoughts on what they could do at pick 18? I mean, we got so much time. We're going to be doing draft shows and
can't wait.
And eventually, again, these levers are going to be pulled and that could alter things. Who excites you? Who excites you in the draft?
Well, I think if you want names, I have a few of them, but if you just want positions, I think what we saw with the Kwesi regime that came to an end about 2 weeks ago, what we saw is they would always draft for need. It was never best player available. They would always just draft for need, and it bit them in the butt a few times. You know, you go back and we can all talk about the 2022 draft and how horrible that was and the moving around. And, you know, if you look at it, they literally could have sat where they were and probably taken Kyle Hamilton and then taken the wide receiver that Brett's favorite team has, right? That's an A-plus draft if that's the way you go. And it couldn't have been the exact opposite. The one guy I think Lewis Seen was cut by his UFL team. Yeah. And I don't think Andrew Booth is in the league anymore. Yeah,
we saw Ed Ingram with the Houston Texans.
Who's I think going to get paid. I think he might get paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because I think what we're going to see is this is it's a situation with this offseason where a lot of these guys that are marginal to decent are going to get paid because this draft has some very good positions. Like I think it's deep at corner. I think it's deep at defensive line. There are maybe 1.5 quarterbacks in this draft that, you know, I would bet if you went to DraftKings right now, I bet Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback's draft position is probably 25.5, right?
Yeah.
Or 21.5, wherever the Steelers pick, because we go through that song and dance every year. Who are the Steelers going to pick?
To interrupt you real quick, am I the only one that's not completely sold that Mendoza is just going to be bona fide number 1 overall pick and just be the next great quarterback in the NFL?
I think there's that, but I also think Mendoza is in the situation he is in because they went undefeated. They won the championship.
Yeah.
He threw like 4 or 5 picks all season. And
amazing season.
all of the guys a year ago today that we were talking about that were going to, or, a year, whenever it was, all the guys that we thought before the college football season, the Arch Mannings of the world, the Sellers guy at South Carolina, the Clemson quarterback Klubnik, all those guys we thought would come out in this draft. They all stayed. So he's going to be the beneficiary of that because I think what we'll hear, and it's one of the draft talkers everybody likes to talk about, is where would Fernando Mendoza go if that class, that 2027 class, he might go 3rd or 4th, but he's earned the situation to go number 1. One of the names that I really like is Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson and Caleb Banks, the defensive lineman from Florida. I think he'd be great. But what you said, the first name you brought up about possibly being off this team, and TJ Hawkinson, I love the tight end from Oregon. I think he'd be. I think it's Kenyon. How do you pronounce it?
Sadiq.
Yeah, Kenyon Sadiq. I think he'd be great. I think he'll be there at 18.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be a home run pick that if you had to put a name on it right now, I think he'd be the guy that you would probably take at 18. And the funny part about this draft, Nordo, is 4 months ago even, I thought we were in lockstep for a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
So you start looking at like the Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State, who's an absolute stud. You look at some of these receivers, the Tate character. You look at, Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, who people thought would be there, or Reuben Bain,
awesome.
the guy from Miami, the defensive lineman from Miami. We're not going to be that high. A lot of those names aren't going to get down there, but it's, I think my point of this long winding word salad is we have to get back to just taking the best player available.
The best possible
The
athlete.
best player available at 18 is, I think, where they're going to go with, and we'll see the holes that they have to fill and how they're going to maneuver their way around the weird cap situation that they're in.
Yeah, and but Sadiq, for instance, with the Ducks, if he's the best player there, you want to take him. That does become the conversation, though, of what are we doing with TJ Hawkinson? Right? Do you got to maybe handcuff part of that? I've been looking, and I'm totally with you in terms of we just need to BPA, please, best player, please. I've been kind of looking at edge rushers, as well, and part of me thinks that Dallas Turner into year 3, hopefully that continues to ascend, but at his age, Andrew Van Ginkel, as much as we love him. From a depth standpoint, Andrew Van Ginkel missing those games. He had the neck thing in the past, and he was banged up in 2025. You mentioned Peter Woods, who's at Clemson. There's another cat, TJ Parker, at Clemson, and then there's a Michigan man, Derek Moore. A couple of productive cats in college and that's where, again, head spinning on the QB situation. Totally in on the idea of this, whatever your board looks like at 18. Don't bleep around. No. Just take a freaking guy.
Take the best player available.
Take the best player, make a difference, make some memories. And, but that's, okay. So Caleb Downs is who you said, right?
No, Caleb Banks. Caleb Downs will be long gone by pick 18.
Yeah, he's single digits, isn't he?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he'll be a top 5 or 6 pick, Yeah, it's just corner, safety, D-line of some sort, an edge rush. Let me ask you this question.
What the center looks like.
I know you got a break and you got to move on from me. Do you think there's a possibility that they trade Jonathan Grenard for a cap spot? He doesn't have any guaranteed money, and maybe they have a big belief in Dallas Turner.
Yeah. Do you have a?
I think they do. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a 2nd round pick for him.
No, I just mean, do you have belief in Dallas Turner?
I didn't.
I'm still struggling with that.
Well, I mean, he played well though. There were stretches of it where he looked like a top 20 pick, right?
He was starting to show his draft stock.
Yeah,
yes.
And, the knock from the people who didn't want him knocked, if that makes sense, the people who stood up for him, would keep saying he's 20 years old. I don't know. I think they might have a little faith in Dallas Turner that they just need to find ways to get money. They don't have any money. And you can say that the drafting was bad with Kwesi. I think one of the main reasons he's not here is how badly this cap situation is with a rookie quarterback.
Well, again, when he came in 2022, he had 2 goals. get the team younger and become more financially flexible.
And they're none of that.
And they're neither of those things, right?
Yeah.
And so, and again, this isn't, from a cap standpoint, as I understand it, they can get this taken care of relatively easily, right? Void years, the cap, and so they can get that figured out. But to that end, regardless, he failed miserably on those two massive objectives. And the tough thing with Grenard, when Grenard's fully healthy and plays a full season, like we saw last year, maybe he missed a game, I forget. But Grenard, and we saw this in Houston, is full season, uber productive, nicked up, misses half the year. And last year he only played in 12 games. That in combination with Andrew Van Ginkel, who's going to be 31, are you trading? You're trading to save money. We need a body.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We need a body there. So that's difficult for me to see them trading Jonathan Grenard. But in terms of making moves, it's like keeping an open mind. That's what I was talking about earlier. I have no grasp in terms of what the next step is. It's going to be, of course, get under the cap. I get that. But then what? Because they got to solve a quarterback situation. What a year to need a QB, boys.
Right.
That's a frustrating issue unto itself. And then in terms of adding the depth, Harrison Smith out of the mix. If they go safety at 18 and between now, we'll get the combine next week. And there's a steamy guy at 18 that we get and we love. I'll love that. If there's a corner, I love Isaiah Rodgers.
Yep.
But I think he's last year of super cheap deals. So are they going to re-up him? Byron Murphy Jr., sadly, productivity-wise, was a complete dud in comparison to a year ago. So if they go corner, I'm cool with it. I mentioned edge rusher. But then Javon Hargrave, that seems like the most obvious one to me. Javon Hargrave, you can save 11 or 12 in the flick of a wrist.
I think he'll be cut. Yeah.
And I don't know what the guaranteed cash is in terms of Jonathan Allen, but this is a true rat's nest.
Yeah.
And so in combination with where we are now, combined with the fact we won't be able to truly evaluate how they do in this draft for another couple of years.
Yeah. But they got to nail it.
They have to.
Guys have to play this season. They have to be productive and play this season.
They do. And what's I guess kind of ticks me from a patient standpoint or lack of patience. Remember last spring how excited we were that they added Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave and Ryan Kelly?
Yep.
Oh, didn't see that.
Will Fries.
Didn't see that coming, right? You didn't see it coming. And then you started to play those games because you're a Vikings fan and you want to be as optimistic as possible. Well, they had injuries, so that's probably why maybe we paid a little less than we would have otherwise.
Yeah.
But if they're all healthy, we can make some plays with this group.
But they weren't.
And then they weren't.
No, they were not.
And we spent more money than any team in the NFL over the last 12 months trying to put this thing together. And somehow Flores still figured out how to make that thing work at a high level. And then there was the offense.
Yeah.
And then there was the quarterback.
Do you think McCarthy will start game one?
I think at this moment he'd still be favored to. But that's okay. So part of this Talker Tuesday, talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app. Give us up to your best 30 seconds. And, maybe it is with a right to change it, as PA would say, between now and free agency. What's the name? What do you got? Free iHeartRadio app. Who's the QB you want in here? I think that if we were talking about, you saw that preposterous trade idea. And this isn't even like Bill Barnwell, I think, is the guy who wrote it.
ESPN,
Not an indictment of him. This is what they do. It's just off-season
it's
bits,
February.
right? And it's February. It's NFL fodder.
Which we love.
We adore it, and we need it. The idea of Mac Jones coming in here, well, that J.J. McCarthy, I feel like, can beat out a Mac Jones. And so, and he was great in Shanahan's system, and he's a dog, he's a tough guy, he's, limping down the field, won't go out, doing yeoman's work while Purdy was on the shelf. But that, if you do that, that's one conversation. Now, further down the line, big game hunting. And now somebody with extensive equity comes into the party. Well, then then that becomes actually obvious that McCarthy will not start. And that might be the end of McCarthy. So there's this huge, as I said yesterday, this massive spectrum in terms of the Sam Howell, Brett Rippon idea, as competition and going for a Burrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as of now, as it sits today, I feel like after such a limited number of starts and games that you have to say that they're not giving up on him and they're going to give him that fair chance to develop and fall in line. But it's certainly more tenuous than it was a year ago. I just need to know who the other guy is.
Yeah.
It ain't Max Brosmer.
No.
Sky Umah, Maroon and Gold, we love you. It ain't Max Brosmer.
No.
It can't be.
No, it can't be.
So at this rate, I would say still that he would be favored to start week 1.
My opinion is if that trade that was proposed by Bill Barnwell, I think it was like a second round pick and a bunch of stuff. If you give up a second round pick for a quarterback, McCarthy is not your starter.
Yeah.
I just think even if you don't know, and I also would say and there, all the hot rumors that Kyler Murray is going to be cut. I think if you bring him in here, I don't think JJ is your starter. I think that's more of a competition. But if you go out and you move high equity draft picks for a quarterback, J.J. McCarthy is not your starting quarterback. Because you can't bring Mac Jones in and give up a second round pick where you need the cheap players, where you need the draft picks. You need to not bring guys in here. The problem with this team is they don't have younger guys who aren't expensive that play well. They don't have any of that except for a handful like we saw, the Patriots of the world and even the Chicago Bears. They were great because all their young players were good.
That is correct.
They need that. If you're going to give up high-end equity, draft equity, you're not starting J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
In fact, you might even package him with one of these trades. If you go out for a Burrow, McCarthy is part of the package.
Most likely.
He has to be. You just can't have him around. Not that he's a bad guy, but it's Burrow's
you're
team.
Closing the book on
You're closing the book.
Yeah.
And I think that even goes for if you bring in a Mac Jones.
Now but then on the other end of it, if you're trading high-end equity, we're not talking about pick 18 for a team that needs young talent to play well.
Yeah.
So again, the rat's nest that the Vikings are in.
They're in a bad spot.
Would you always rather have, a Joe Burrow, again, we're talking in the clouds here, that elevates things around him potentially, right? You can be,
but he doesn't stay healthy.
And that's Burrow in particular. Yes. Agreed. So, but we need young talent to offset what we potentially would be doing at quarterback. But to get that quarterback, we require leveraging assets that would yield us young talent.
I mean, Burrow would cost you at least 3 first-round picks.
Firsts.
Probably 3 firsts and maybe like Grenard because they're probably going to lose Trey Hendrickson. And probably you would throw in McCarthy so then they would have some body at quarterback.
Man, I remember a couple of years ago I was in the PST. As the PST goes on this year, I said I wouldn't trade 3 firsts for Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it was just dumb. I'm not even sure. Have you ever heard like audio of yourself saying something and you vaguely recall the conversation or the topic, but you're just disgusted by your own statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to me far too often. So I try not to listen to the podcast.
I've made a living out of being dumb. That's dumb.
It's really dumb.
That's real dumb.
It's incredibly stupid.
That's not right.
So, but with the injuries, maybe that conversation changes a bit with Burrow. Probably not, though. I mean, he's just. But to that end, if you do that, well, then we're not upgrading safety at pick 18. We're not upgrading D-line. We're not adding that 23-year-old potential star that we need, the best player available that we've been talking about. It's an absolute mess. But as it pertains to the draft, until anything weird happens, I like where you're headed.
Yeah. I can't wait. It all starts in about a week. We'll start getting some greasy rumors soon. Dude, it's the best.
Combine week is
it's the best.
Sweet.
I mean, the league year is under a month away. Like the tampering bit is like, I think 3 weeks from Monday. Like, let's go. It's football's off-season football season is the best.
Then it
e-breaks itself in about June, and then we'll be right back at it.
Big swing of things.
Can't wait.
Thank you, brother.
You're the best.
That's Meatsauce Paul Lambert, Power Trip Morning Show, and that kicks off 9 to noon, and a Talker Tuesday, as I mentioned. Here's the deal. Talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app. You hit that microphone, you give us up to your best 30 seconds. You can spin the wheel if you want, really. But do you have a name? As we're talking about this, again, whether it's leveraging young talent, young talent opportunities in the draft with the trade to acquire a QB, or are you sticking and picking at 18 and it's best player available? And here in mid-February, before the combine and a month and change before the draft, this is the name that I love. That's a talkback right there. Just tell me why. Or in the QB conversation, again, with a right to change it, as my guy would say, who's the QB? Who's the guy? I'm seeing a ton of texts on Kyler Murray. I saw some steam yesterday. Todd McShay saying that the Houston Texans might be interested in moving C.J. Stroud. Okay, well, what does that do for you? Interesting rookie season, unbelievable rookie season, in fact. But then it feels like there's a regression. Is he stuck in cement? C.J. Stroud, is that the name? There are no wrong answers here, except maybe that Mac Jones trade idea from yesterday. I didn't like that, but hey, I'm no final authority on this. Talkback's free iHeartRadio app. If there's a prospect you're in love with that you want Rob Brzezinski and company to hit a home run with in April, we'll take that. Or just spin the wheel and let her rip. What do you got on a Tuesday? And the reason for that, Talker Tuesday, is brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. At the end of the show, Brett's going to pick the tastiest talkback. We're going to do this every week. The tastiest talkback on a Talker Tuesday. And you're going to get a $25 Northern Fire gift card. You can use it online, northernfirebbq.com, or head to the store in Minnetonka. Amazing people. You'll love them. Championship Barbecue. But that kicks off, let's see those talkbacks, and that kicks off the TimberTech set list, brought to you by TimberTech and TimberTech.com. Next up, we're gonna hear from Mr. Micheletti, Olympic hockey, NHL hockey, what's up with the Gophers, all of that with Micheletti around the corner. More hockey with Parker Fox in Milan, watching Taylor Heisey score a goal yesterday for the women's squad. We'll catch up with him. We're headed down to Fort Myers, chatted with Dan Hayes yesterday, chatting with John Bonus today. Some news. How important is it? How worrisome is it about Pablo Lopez and that elbow? Just catching the vibes of Fort Myers with Mr. Bonus. And, of course, your talkbacks throughout this show as well. Brett Blakemore produces. I'm Nordo. It's Vocal Maintenance Day for the host. And we'll continue next with Mr. Micheletti on the Fan.
Never miss your chance to know what the latest sports news is in town, chances to win tickets, or just knowing what's going on with your favorite KFAN shows. You can follow KFAN 1003 on all of our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can stay connected and follow the sports leader, the Fan.
Are you on TikTok, Brett?
I dabble.
Oh, sweet. Would you like to share your handle?
I believe it's just Brett KFAN as well. Yeah.
Simply enough. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Love it.
Universal.
And I love Pat Micheletti at PatMick2626 via X. Long time, joining weekly, of course, Beyond the Pond on the weekends, catching him analyzing Gophers hockey. And I do want to get to that, not immediately. I'd like to start on a good note. Good morning, Mr. Micheletti. How are you?
Good morning, Nordo. How are you today? And I need to, every time I'm on with you, I need to apologize again because the car service that Chad Abbott sent for me didn't arrive. So,
oh, really?
I couldn't be in studio.
Dude, you never have to apologize to me. We've talked about this, Patrick.
Well, I know, but I thought that I would be driving by now, but I'm still not cleared yet. So, but I would rather be in studio with you than doing this over the phone. But we'll get there.
Yes, we will. We will indeed. And it looks like the women are going to get there. It's been a free-for-all. What is it, 31 or 32 goals, just one conceded over the course of the Olympics? How special have they been over this time?
I haven't seen anything like this. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most impressive things at the entire Olympic Games. It has been the U.S. women's hockey team. Just phenomenal. And their skill level is watching them evolve. And I remember calling one of the first Frozen Fours in women's hockey, and to where that was, where it was then, to what these women are doing now is, it's just so much fun to watch.
No, it has been, and it's going to be Canada and the U.S. in the final. Could have probably told you that, given the history of these gals at the Olympics. But this doesn't, it's kind of maybe it's not a unique spot, but it does kind of feel that way in some regard where, yeah, it's U.S. Canada. Yeah, we want to see a good one. We want to see our squad come out on the right side of it. But it's been just an avalanche when these ladies turn it on. And we saw the initial matchup with Canada. It's just, how competitive could it possibly be? It sounds insane to ask that, but it feels that way.
Right. And typically, in past Olympics and in fact, Canada, the Canadian women have won more, Olympic gold than the U.S. has. But this year, it is different. I mean, they are heads and tails better than Canada, and I expect almost the same result that we saw in the preliminary round. I don't see how anybody can touch or come close to this U.S. team. I mean, they're that good, and it's mind blowing what they've been able to do in this tournament.
Is there an aspect of this that you could look at the PWHL and say that this is somewhat a product of that, and just having that league and kind of upping the level of competition domestically has allowed them to go in with a different level of game, of course, in the Olympics?
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I just think the programs for the younger girls when they've started out, and their commitment to the game, and you talk to any coach who coaches or who has coached a youth girls team, or going up the level. They are sponges. They want to get better. They learn. They take everything in. They work extremely hard, and that has been the evolution in my mind with their game. It's just it's amazing to me how they just want to get better, and they work so hard to do that, and it's paying off as we see with Team USA.
To the men's side, they get to chill today, and they'll find out Sweden or Latvia. I believe they're playing this afternoon around 2:00, and then we'll find out who the Americans are playing. The American men are playing mañana. Just simple 10,000-foot view question on the men. What have you thought? We heard about the ladies. What have you thought about Boldy and all the boys? Faber getting that goal the other day. What have you thought about the men at the Olympics?
I'm really nervous going into the game, which I believe will be against Sweden. I think Sweden is so good. They've had issues with their goaltending, and who's going to start? Is it going to be Gus? Is it going to be Markstrom? Both haven't played great, but both have the ability to play great, as we've seen. But I'm a little weary about the U.S. team. I don't think that they've got guys in and out. Their lines have been moved around a little bit, and I don't think Nordo that's the way you want to go into the medal round. I see Clayton Keller is back in. He's played one game. Now it looks like he's going to be back in for tomorrow's game, and Kyle Connor, is going to be out, which I think is a huge mistake on the part of the U.S. team. So I don't think that they feel real comfortable with the lines that they have up front. Now, defensively, I think they're DR elite. They're the best in the tournament, no question, and they're going to be the drivers of Team USA. I think that's always been the case. But when you don't have, the let's call it the top line, the Eichel Kachuk line,
okay,
no issues with. They've been set from the beginning. They've been playing great. There's been some question marks with the so-called second line with Boldy, Genzel, and Austin Matthews. I think Austin Matthews has played fine. A lot of people haven't, but there's been some jockeying with that line a little bit. It looks like they'll play together tomorrow. But then you've got your third and fourth lines where it's been who's going to play with who. You got Trocheck, you got Miller, filling in here and there. I just don't feel comfortable with it, and I think the omission of Kyle Connor concerns me a little bit. Now, that being said, it's a hell of a lineup, right?
Yeah.
But they're also playing a team in Sweden that is awfully, awfully good, and I'm just call me nervous for tomorrow's game.
If it is indeed Sweden, you just haven't been able to catch some of the players. For instance, in Eriksson Ek, you mentioned Gus Bus, et cetera.
Yeah.
You've been able to see. Yeah. You've been able to see clips of it online, and you can read stories and such. But at least from my programming perspective, everything, of course, has been so America focused, which is good.
Yeah.
It's our country in the Olympics. Have you been able to pick anything out of Eriksson Ek's game or the netminder, et cetera, in terms of Marcus Johansson? I don't know how much opportunity he's getting for the Swedes.
He's played one game. Yeah.
Okay. So what do we know about our guys in Sweden?
Yeah, Ek has been Ek. I mean, he scored a shorthanded goal. Who was it against? I think I can't recall. Slovakia. And, it was Eriksson Ek making a great play in his own end, making a great pass to Kempe. Kempe takes a shot. Eriksson Ek right there for the rebound and knocks it in. And he's been the same player that he has been here. He's been terrific. Gus has been okay. I think he's played in 2 of the games, for Sweden. And he's been okay. But he's going to, when you get to this medal round, you've got to have great goaltending. And that's what's hurt Sweden, in my opinion, the most. Their defense, their D-corps is elite. Their forwards are elite. They skate. They move the puck. They are as good as anybody in the world. And so, the matchup tomorrow, it's going to be a great one. No question about it. And it might just come down to, is Hellebuck going to be better than whoever, Sweden plays in the net, tomorrow, whether it be Markstrom or Gus. I think it's going to be Gus, to be quite honest with you. I think, if you were to compare the two, I think he's been a little bit more reliable than Markstrom has been for Sweden.
Last thing for you here to the college ranks. I mean, Wild. We're gonna get back after the Wild in earnest, really a week from now, as I believe it's next Thursday they resume play against the Avs up in down or up in Mile High, but over in Denver. To the college team for a bit. You were in South Bend handling business for Maroon and Gold related hockey. What's going on with this team now? I'm sure you've gone at length about this thing over the course of time with Beyond the Pond, and I was listening to some Motzko audio. Just kind of, this league has changed. The Big Ten itself, as it continues to ascend, that this ain't like the old WCHA or the old conference. That it's almost like it was our turn to kind of have our struggles with age and experience and quality. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but what have you seen? Does that all add up in terms of the trials and tribulations Motzko's group has had this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very, very young team, and their biggest issue all season long, and it's just been that way, is their inability to get the 3 goals on a nightly basis. And if you don't do that, you're just not going to win in a league that is very offensive, if you will, and so that their power play, which is odd. They played Notre Dame, right? And Notre Dame has the same issue. They can't get to 3. However, they have a great power play. I think they're 4th in the country, 5th in the country. Minnesota's 1st or 2nd in the country with their power play. So the guys that they have, and I'm talking the Zemers, the Lambs, the LJ Mooney. They're terrific on the power play, but you have to play the whole game, right? And you have to play 5-on-5, and 5-on-5, their inability to score goals has killed them this year. They're getting great goaltending. For the most part, they're defending really well. But if you don't get to 3 goals, you're just not going to win. And on Friday, it was a 2-2 game, and they win the shootout. Well, good, right? They get the extra point. Saturday night, they're up 2-1 going into the third. Have a power play to start the third, and they can't score on it. And so, that puts Notre Dame, they're right back in it. They tie it, and then somehow they get the third goal and win. So that's how it's kind of been all season long for this team. And listen, they're working hard and all that fun stuff, but it's a very young team that just is having trouble scoring goals, and that's been the big issue for them this year.
Is that still kind of an at-large conversation in college hockey? I mean, I feel like 5-6 years ago, you would have been with us 9 to noon chatting with PA about, look at Hastings and Mankato with the 24-year-old German kids versus the Casey Middlestat, Eden Prairie's finest, young, fresh, more inexperienced, headed to the big school. Like, is that still an at-large talker in college hockey?
Well, I think it's changed quite a bit. In fact, if you look at the CCHA this year, which that league was known for getting older players and, more experienced guys, with the inclusion now of the CHL, where these teams could get the Canadian junior player, the older Canadian junior player. Well, they can get those guys now, and they're more skilled. And you've seen more scoring in that league this year, and it's a much, much better league. In fact, in my opinion, they might get 3 teams in the tournament this year. So I think we're seeing more skill put into play. Now, age-wise, there's some older guys, but that's just the nature of the beast, and that will never change.
You know who never changes? You, in terms of being the best, Mr. Micheletti. Thanks for calling in this morning, sir.
You got it. And again, my apologies. We'll get in there one of these days.
Absolutely. Sure. Looking forward to it, my friend.
Thanks.
We'll talk soon. That's Pat Micheletti. Oh, now I got to apologize. I think I cut him off. I think he was about.
A Midwestern goodbye there.
Yeah.
You were over it.
Yeah. How's the weather? How's the family? I hope the family's good. It's always good with Pat Micheletti at PatMick2626 via X. And when we return, jumping into the text machine, 64686, Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. It is a Talker Tuesday brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. I got a bunch of talkbacks that I want to begin firing off next segment. Before we check out Parker Fox at the top of the hour in Milan. It's Nordo in for PA. Brett Blakemore here, the Fan.
If you want to chime into what's happening in your favorite KFAN shows, you can. It's very easy. You can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard text message and data rate supply.
And I will read a couple of texts momentarily, but as I mentioned, Talker Tuesday, looking for talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app. I found some.
As a University of Michigan fan, I was surprised that McCarthy even went higher than the second round. I am 65% sure that he is not going to be the starter next year, and 10% sure that he will not even be on the roster. At least the Vikings roster. He'll probably be on someone's roster, but as a backup.
Thanks for the talkback machine. Free iHeartRadio app. Give us up to your best 30 seconds. Talker Tuesday. Somebody's going to get a $25 Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply gift card as part of this. Another talkback.
Tony Harris calling from Maple Grove. Listen, if J.J. McCarthy is the starting quarterback this upcoming season, Brian Flores will be the head coach in 2027. There's no way that I would have my quarterback that has to create an alter ego to be able to play the position.
9.
He's not the guy. Just my thoughts.
No, I appreciate it, Tony. Another talk back.
Nordo, Sauce, what's up? It's Papa Taco. Just getting ready to sling these hot tenders here at Dave's. Listen, I got a hot take. The only option that's the best option, you bring Kirko back. Listen, he's the smartest quarterback in the game right now, the best film studier. He would be the absolute best mentor for JJ. Let him sit for a year, learn under Kirk, and then see what we have.
Thanks, Papa Taco. Sling them tenders. I don't know if you probably don't notice this, Brett, because I'm.
What's that?
I'm reading the transcripts of the talkbacks in front of me. Just got to make sure everything's good with the FCC and such. My name transcribes to Nardo more often than it transcribes to Nordo. Nardo. I kind of like Nardo. Growing up, it was kids. Kids will be kids. I had Nardquest. Nerdquest. I mean, they were creative. But Nardo, I like Nardo. I'm open to that. It's never too late to change nicknames.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no kidding.
Don't encourage it.
Text line 64686. Nords, you should have way more confidence in Dallas Turner than you do in J.J. McCarthy. And I would say that I do. Part of the conversation early in the hour, if you're just tuning in, is just kind of the upcoming draft and how the conversation around what you do with pick 18, et cetera, really doesn't start until levers are being pulled. And whether it's, the cap conversation is, I don't want to say it's overblown, $40 million over the cap, but in the same, you can just do restructures and various things that can get you back in black pretty easily. But then what, right? And so that has to happen first. But we were talking and just kind of looking at, okay, so Jonathan Grenard nicked up when he's fully healthy. He's a game changer and was even super productive in the 12 games he played, but it was a little different this year. The conversation around Jonathan Grenard, as phenomenal at times as he has been, he was just a hair away from a sack a lot this year, right? So maybe not necessarily as splashy, still very productive. But then Andrew Van Ginkel missing those games that he missed. Neck injury in the past and nicked up this year, just trying to take things the precautionary route in relation to his health. Appreciate that. But at this stage of his career, do we worry about the idea, will there be missed games? So you think about depth, Dallas Turner into his third year. I have confidence that Dallas Turner belongs, and I have confidence that Dallas Turner can be productive, but that still doesn't take the idea of potentially in the draft, if it is a best player available operation, that if there's an edge rusher there at pick 18, I'm just not against it. But to your point in the text, yes, I think most people do. I was trying to find it. I got more talkbacks here. It's a Talker Tuesday. Thank you, Northern Fire. But let me see here. Oh yeah, here we go. I love this one.
J.J. McCarthy couldn't beat a wet paper bag out at quarterback. If I'm the Vikings this year, I think I'm going with Kyler Murray at quarterback. No, that don't sound great, but there's not a lot of great options. Either Murray or Rodgers. But I think Rodgers has gotten a little too old. I'd go with Murray.
Murray it is. Couldn't beat out a wet paper bag.
Were you expecting that accent when you read the transcript?
No, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Great.
There's no doubt about it. Wet paper bag, yes. Confidence low at the QB spot. But again, wide spectrum. Is it the Kirko chains? Is that the idea? Kirk's only going somewhere. And we know about, he's going to be, if he's released by the Falcons, they still owe him a bunch of cash. Similarly to the Russell Wilson situation where he was able to go and get very small change from the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 years ago because the Broncos owed him a ton of money. Similarly, Kirk can go somewhere else for an incredibly cheap dollar, but he's going to want to start. So if Kirk comes here, it would be, I think that was Papa Taco. It will be in a starting role. He's not going to roll in somewhere and hold on here. I got to compete. I don't think so. That's the vibe I get with Kirk. So would you be okay with that? The wide spectrum of what they can do and what that implies for the future of 9. Let's go to Milan. We'll get back to football. Big open segment, middle of the 10 a.m. hour. A couple of things to dive into there. But Parker Fox in Milan, he's been our official/unofficial Olympics correspondent following women's hockey en route to, this domination that they're putting on the ice right now is unbelievable. And it's U.S. and Canada for gold in a couple days. We're going to chat with Parker on site on scene next as we kick off the second hour, 9 to noon.